Now, here's a question I've never been asked before, an ethical question. And it's practical for some people, and there may be application for many of you, even though the specific circumstance is not one you're faced. Is it ethical to work in a casino? Well, the first thought that I had is I guess it depends on what it is that you're doing at the casino. You know, if you're a waiter or a busboy in the restaurant there, the buffet, I don't see any problems with that. But you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, isn't just like casinos themselves a problem? Like gambling? So you're in that whole gambling environment. Well, that presumes that gambling itself is a sin. Now, I have no conviction that that's the case. It may be stupid. It may lead to sin, but I have no sense that it is a sin in itself. I have Christian friends whose name I won't mention here, but who enjoy going to casinos to do the gaming because it's fun for them. Now, there's no appeal there for me, but some people just like pulling the arm and playing the games and whatever. And I guess I want to say, who am I to judge? There's no basis upon which to judge that. There does not seem to be a moral component to that. Now, I know that this might rock some of you back a little bit because you were raised in environments that simply prohibited certain behaviors. We don't smoke, drink, or chew, or go with those that do. Okay? Well, if that's your ethic and that's the way you want to live and that's your conscience, fine, live by it. But that kind of thing, these are classically considered blue laws, those kinds of things are not biblical. The Bible does not teach that it's wrong to drink alcohol. It does not teach that it's wrong to go to R-rated movies, per se. It does not teach that it's wrong to play cards. It does not teach that it's wrong to dance. These are traditions that Christians have developed over the years, and there may be some wisdom in those traditions. I'm not taking exception with that, but what we have to be careful of is taking man's tradition and elevating it to the level of God's law. Now, Jesus spoke directly to that issue. And what often happens is we take man's tradition, which may have some value, even with regards to spiritual life and sin issues, whatever, and we elevate it to equal with God's law. And what takes place then, and was Jesus' concern, is that then features of God's law end up taking a back seat. For example, there's this discussion in the New Testament about not eating meat sacrificed to idols because it can cause a brother to stumble, and many Christians have adapted this verse to the issue of drinking and causing Christians to stumble drinking. Well, I think there's wisdom in that consideration and that application. There's a consideration there regarding stumbling and something like drinking. But that isn't all Paul says in those passages. He also says, why should I be governed by another man's conscience? Who are you to judge another? We should not be judging, the weaker brother should not be judging the stronger brothers in an appropriate exercise of their Christian freedom. And now this almost never gets talked about. If what we do is we look at a biblical principle, then we establish a tradition that is reflecting something about that principle, which is fine. We make it into a law, and then we use that law to judge people who do not comply with our man-made tradition. Then we violated what Jesus has in mind. So this happens in a lot of different issues, and I'm just warning you to be careful about it because this causes serious problems. The Bible, as far as I know, does not weigh in on the gambling issue. Now, it might be that some gambling circumstances involve other elements that could be problematic. Well, then you have to weigh those things and avoid those things and maybe stay out of a casino altogether. If what's happening is you become a slave to this kind of thing, that can happen. Same thing with alcohol. Same thing with food. Same thing with a whole host of different things that may not be sinful in themselves but can rise to sinful proportions. So it is for us, in counsel with others, being wise, to make judgments. It is not for leadership to pass man-made laws to control everybody to live according to their own particular conscience. That's a big mistake. You want to work in a casino? Working in a casino is not a moral problem as far as I'm concerned. All right? I don't see any good reason, and someone would spell this out biblically for me to see otherwise. Wherever you happen to work, you should be careful about other things that pertain to it that might, in fact, be sinful or drawing you into a sinful circumstance. Some things may not be wise for some people, and you have to consider that. But that's part of what it means to grow in maturity with God, making wise distinctions and judgments yourself, not being forced to follow arbitrary rules of human groups that then becomes a pretext for bringing unbiblical and sinful judgment down on your personal behavior.